Morgan, immigration raids are taking place in Louisiana and Minnesota today. The Department of Homeland Security says it is targeting, quote, criminal illegal aliens in New Orleans. In the Twin Cities, senior law enforcement officials confirmed ICE agents are on the ground for an apparent large-scale operation that may include the arrest of some Somalis who are allegedly in violation of the law. Now, the raids come after President Trump blasted Somalians in that state during a cabinet meeting yesterday. Take a listen.
I want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country.
NBC News senior Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley joins us now. Julia, tell us about these latest ICE operations and why the administration chose to send agents to the Twin Cities to focus on the Somali community.
Well, Vicki, you just showed there how President Trump has been focused on Minneapolis and in particular the Somali community. Now, Minneapolis and St. Paul, the Twin City area, has the largest population of Somalis living inside the United States. Many of them are naturalized U.S. citizens, but ICE says that some of them are in violation of immigration law. And so when they conduct this operation there, they may be picking up more people who are Somali than not when they conduct this raid. That is already happening. It began this morning. We're waiting to get more details on who they arrest and the numbers, and we'll be reporting those soon. But of course, this follows those remarks from President Trump and from Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, because they have been accusing the Somali community in Minneapolis of fraud. There was an investigation from DHS that looked into whether or not Somalis in Minneapolis had been accused of Medicare fraud, of SNAP fraud, and other benefit fraud, and they said that about half of those had committed fraud while on visas inside the United States. So this is where that began, and of course now it's ending with this operation in Minneapolis. But a senior law enforcement official says that Somalis are not the only ones who will be targeted in this operation.
Julia, what do we know about the operation that's happening right now in New Orleans?
Well, this is being done by a different agency. This is Border Patrol, which, of course, typically is in charge of enforcing the borders of the United States. But 1,500 of those have been pulled inside to do operations that we've seen in places like Los Angeles, Chicago, most recently Charlotte. Now they're going to New Orleans. There are about 250 Border Patrol agents who just today began operations in that city. What's different about this operation, though, Vicki, is it's not as widespread as we saw in those previous cities. They're specifically targeting immigrants who were arrested, held in jail locally inside New Orleans, and then were released. This is in violation of what ICE would like to see local police departments do. They want those people, if they're undocumented immigrants, to be handed over to ICE after they've served their time. But because New Orleans is a sanctuary city, they're being released without ICE being notified. And so those are the people we understand Border Patrol will be targeting in this operation. And we'll stay tuned to see if they go beyond that scope. But for now, that's their focus.
Julia Ainsley, we really appreciate your comprehensive reporting today. Thank you.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.